The Galactic Council's emergency session convened in the ancient Nexus Chamber, where representatives from 300 civilizations gathered in holographic form. At the center of the crystalline amphitheater, High Arbitrator Kel Nash's tentacles writhed with barely contained panic as she addressed the assembly. Fellow delegates, her voice resonated through quantum translators. We have received confirmation. The hegemony of Kala has engaged the humans. A collective shudder rippled through the assembled representatives. The Vorthok delegate's exoskeleton rattled audibly. The ethereal Zephins dimmed their bioluminescent forms in what could only be described as horror. Elder Patriarch Zendar of the ancient precursor archive materialized his weathered hologram, his million-year-old voice crackling with disbelief. Impossible. Even the most primitive civilizations learned the first rule within decades of achieving spaceflight. How could the Kala be so catastrophically ignorant? Ambassador Trilek from the Centauri Federation leaned forward, her crystalline form refracting light nervously. High Arbitrator, surely this is a misunderstanding. No species would deliberately violate the oldest rule. The historical records are clear. Every civilization that has targeted humanity for conquest has ceased to exist. The chamber's main display activated, showing tactical feeds from Kala space. What they witnessed defied all conventional military doctrine. The Kalar hegemony, with their trillion-strong armadas and planet-cracking weapons, had surrounded the human colony world of New Geneva with overwhelming force. Tactical analysis indicates the Kalar deployed their entire Sixth Fleet, reported military observer Vale Kays, his multiple eyes tracking the data streams. 8,000 capital ships, 47 dreadnoughts, and their flagship World Render. They have 100,000 to 1 numerical advantage. Fools, whispered Elder Zendar. Numbers are irrelevant when facing humans in combat. Have they learned nothing from the Carillion Empire? The Zerg Collective? The Machine's sovereignty? High Arbitrator Kel Nash's tentacles curled with ancient memory. Perhaps we should remind the Assembly why the rule exists. Archive. Display historical file Omega-7. The chamber darkened as the archive projected ghostly images from the galaxy's blood-soaked past. Civilizations that had once spanned dozens of star systems, reduced to scattered ruins. Mighty empires that had challenged humanity, now remembered only in cautionary tales. The Carillion Empire, Elder Zendar narrated in his cosmic voice, controlled 600 worlds and commanded fleets numbering in the millions. They enslaved the human colony at Proxima Centauri, believing humans to be a primitive species suitable only for labor. Within 18 months, every Carillion world was pacified. The display shifted to show the metallic spheres of the former machine's sovereignty. The synthetics calculated a 99.7% probability of victory when they began systematically harvesting human settlements for biological components. The last machine node fell silent exactly 4 years later. Cause of termination, unknown. Ambassador Trilek's form flickered with nervous energy. But surely the Kalar studied these historical precedents. Their military doctrine is based on overwhelming force and technological superiority, which makes their violation of the rule even more incomprehensible, Kel Nash replied. Our xenobiologists have studied human psychology for millennia. They are not inherently aggressive, quite the opposite. They prefer diplomacy, trade, cultural exchange. But when threatened, she paused, her tentacles forming a gesture of inevitable doom. Something changes. The tactical display suddenly erupted with new activity. The human colony, which moments before had shown only civilian settlements and agricultural facilities, began launching vessels, not evacuation craft, but something else entirely. By the void, breathed military observer Valkas. Those aren't escape pods. What are they? Elder Zendar leaned forward, his ancient eyes studying the emerging craft with growing recognition and dread. Improvised weapons platforms. Made from mining equipment, agricultural machinery, civilian spacecraft, the humans are adapting. The vessels rising from New Geneva were patchwork constructions cargo haulers, fitted with mining lasers, terraforming equipment converted to kinetic weapons, even passenger liners reconfigured as missile platforms. They should have been laughably inadequate against the Kala war machine. Instead, they moved with purpose that defied their humble origins. Impossible, Velkas muttered, as his sensors tracked the human craft. Those modifications should take months of engineering. They're doing it in real time. You still don't understand, Elder Zendar said sadly. This is what makes humans so terrifying. They don't plan for war, they improvise it. Every tool becomes a weapon, every weakness becomes strength, every impossible situation becomes possible. The battle began with the Kala fleet's synchronized Alpha strike. Plasma beams and quantum torpedoes lit space with enough energy to crack a moon. When the light faded, half the human craft were gone. The other half had adapted. Fascinating, Kel Nash observed with clinical horror. The surviving human vessels are already implementing countermeasures. Energy dispersal fields, improvised from their terraforming shields, evasion patterns that shouldn't work with civilian engines. And look at this, Velkas added, his voice tight with disbelief. They're using their destroyed ships as kinetic weapons, programming the debris to impact Kala vessels at precise angles to maximize damage. The tide of battle shifted with mechanical inevitability. For every human craft destroyed, 2 Kala ships fell silent. The humans fought with creativity that bordered on madness, using gravity wells as weapons, turning asteroid mining charges into ship killers, even weaponizing their own destroyed infrastructure. The Kala are retreating, reported Ambassador Trilek, her crystalline form dim with shock. No, Elder Zendar corrected quietly. They're dying. The humans are pursuing. The tactical display now showed Kala craft fleeing in full route, but human vessels somehow multiplying despite their losses, followed like mechanical predators. Ships that had been disabled were repaired mid-battle using salvaged components. Civilian craft from other human colonies began arriving, each one modified for combat with terrifying efficiency. This is why the rule exists, High Arbitrator Keel Nash announced to the stunned assembly. Not because humans are the galaxy's greatest warriors, they're not. Not because they possess superior technology, they don't. The rule exists because humans possess something far more dangerous, the ability to transform any situation, no matter how hopeless, into victory. The chamber fell silent as the implications settled over the assembled delegates. In the display, the last Kala dreadnought vanished in nuclear fire, destroyed by a human garbage scow fitted with improvised antimatter charges. Elder Zendar's ancient voice carried the weight of cosmic history. 300 civilizations have learned to coexist peacefully with humanity. They trade, they cooperate, they flourish together. But 47 civilizations chose to test humanity's resolve. He paused, letting the mathematics speak for themselves. 47 civilizations are now extinct. Not defeated, extinct. This is why the galaxy's oldest and wisest rule remains unchanged. DONOTMESSWITHUMANS. The emergency session ended in silence, but across the galaxy, the message repeated on every communication frequency in every known language. The Kala hegemony violated the first rule. Their fate serves as reminder to all who would threaten humanity. Some species are not meant to be challenged. Within 6 months, the Kala hegemony would exist only in historical archives. Another cautionary tale about the dangers of underestimating the galaxy's most unpredictable species. The rule endured,